What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And about a month ago, I made a video giving out who I think is going to be the worst team, dead last, each of the next 10 seasons. And in that video, I said that I wasn't quite ready to do this with Stanley Cup Champions, give out an early 2026 Stanley Cup champion. But considering now we're like 5 weeks away from the start of the 2025-2026 season, it's go time. So I thought that I would do this fun video before this weekend. We're going to have some pretty more serious videos, podcast episode on our fantasy hockey preview. I'm going to start rolling out like each team's leading scorer, leading defenseman, stuff like that. So it is go time, and I have my 2026 early Stanley Cup prediction. It's not legally binding, but at this point, this is who I would select. And we're going to go through from 2026 all the way to 2035. Once we get to 2030, it's kind of a crapshoot, just betting on teams at that point, whether or not their youngsters will hit. So yeah, let's dive into it. Let's have some fun. And up first in 2026, kind of a square pick, but I'm going with the Florida Panthers. When looking at them, they're running back the exact same team that absolutely ran through the NHL come playoff time. Like, they were able to re-sign everybody, and Anton Lundell, Mackie Samoskevich are only going to be better next season. Yes, like, I don't think that they're going to be around in 5 years still doing this to the NHL, considering a lot of their guys are between the ages of like 27 to 31. But right now, they are the cream of the crop in the NHL. And when looking at other potential contenders for next season, Carolina still doesn't have a number one center. Edmonton still has Stuart Skinner as their goddamn goaltender. The Vegas Golden Knights got Mitch Marner, but Stuart Skinner locked them down in the playoffs. So I think right now, you just got to have to pick the Florida Panthers. If the season starts out and they don't look the same and teams emerge, maybe I'll change my pick. But right now, I'm going pretty basic. And yes, they are over the salary cap, but that's with Matthew Tkachuk on LTIR. I'm sure somebody in mid-January is also mysteriously going to get hurt immediately, and he's going to go on LTIR. He can still do LTIR this season. After that, after next season, then the LTIR salary cap and the playoffs come in. They're going to find a way around it, and it wouldn't surprise me if they three-peat in 2027. Also a little bit chalky, but I'm going with the Edmonton Oilers because I think after the 2026 season, if they yet again lose in the Stanley Cup final, lose in the Western Conference Finals, just don't win the Stanley Cup, they got to move off Stuart Skinner. Like, what are we doing? How is he still the starting goalie? I understand that there weren't a ton of goalies available this season, but there's no excuses to not go out and get a goaltender. When looking at them, McDavid and Draisaitl will still only be like 30 and 31 years old. Bouchard, 27 years old. They'll still be extremely elite. Some of their guys will start getting in their like mid-30s, like a Zach Hyman and a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But at some point, they got to win the Stanley Cup with Connor McDavid. I expect Connor McDavid to re-sign as much as Bardown wants to post 9,000 jersey swaps of Connor McDavid on the Toronto Maple Leafs or somewhere else. I think he's going to re-sign, and I still think that the Edmonton Oilers will win a Stanley Cup at some point. In 2028, I got the Dallas Stars finally getting over the hump when looking at them in 3 seasons. Heiskanen, Robertson, Rantanen, Hintz, Ottinger will all still be in their prime, as well as Thomas Harley being 27, 28 years old, as well as Johnston being now like 25 years old, Bichelle 24 years old. So everybody will be in the middle of their prime. Yes, they might have to make some tough decisions this next offseason, especially with Tyler Seguin, who has $9.85 million on the salary cap, in terms of being able to re-sign Thomas Harley and Jason Robertson. But if they can get past that, their team is just going to be locked in till 2028. You're going to have guys on amazing contracts like Miro Heiskanen at $8.4 million, Johnson at $8.4 million, Ottinger 8.25, Hintz is like 8.35. They're going to be in a really, really good spot come 2028. And hopefully by 2028, after the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup, Florida Panthers, they start this kind of age. Meanwhile, the Dallas Stars have most of their players still firmly in their prime. Starts getting interesting in 2029. I don't think I'm blowing anybody's socks off with those first 3 picks. Go with the Minnesota Wild in 2029. When looking at it, Kaprizov will still be 32 years old, and in my opinion, he'll still be a superstar, as well as guys like Faber, Boldy, Boyum, Gustafson, Yurov, Ogren, Rossi. Hopefully Wallstead gets back on track, all being elite players. And when looking at the Western Conference in 4 years from now, besides Dallas for the most part, Edmonton, Vegas, Winnipeg, Colorado will all be pretty goddamn old at that point, as well as the up-and-coming teams. I don't think like a San Jose Sharks would be quite ready yet. The Chicago Blackhawks won't quite be ready. Anaheim might. Utah probably will be very good between them, Utah and Dallas. So I'm going with Minnesota. Maybe a little bit out there pick, but they do have a superstar forward. They do still have a very intriguing U25 core, and I think potentially if Zeev Boyan becomes what we think that he can be in terms of an offense defenseman, this team will yet again be a contender, and they just got to be able to re-sign Kaprizov, and then their salary cap situation is looking pretty damn good for the next like 5 years. In 2030, I'm still falling for it. I'm fell for it again award. The New Jersey Devils. When looking at them, Hughes will still be making $8 million. Jack Hughes, that is. Bratt will still be making 7.8, two of the best contracts, no doubt, in the NHL at that time. Hopefully, Luke Hughes develops into the number one defenseman that I think that he can. They also have Anton Salayev, who hopefully will be a lockdown 6'7" defensive defenseman. Then Seamus Casey still developing very well. Hopefully, Simone Nemec can reach at least 70, 80% of his potential that we thought on draft night. He sure will still be in his prime. Yegorov maybe will be the starting goalie by then, but this New Jersey team should be in the mix for the foreseeable future, and they still do have young guys that could potentially get them over the hump. Yes, I know they are a little bit undersized, but they should definitely be a damn good team come 2031, also a Metro team, the Carolina Hurricanes. They will be reaping the rewards of those long-term contracts that they've given out recently, like a Seth Jarvis, $7.4 million in 2031 when he's 27, 28 years old in the middle of his prime. Jackson Blake, Stankoven, Miller. I think Ehlers will be in his final year. Carolina is set. I think if they get a second-line center, they might win a Stanley Cup much more sooner than that. But if not, you're going to have Jarvis, you're going to have Nikishin. You still have Aho and Slavin on the team. They'll be older and not superstars, but you have a bunch of very promising youngsters. And I think just the amount of surplus value within their contracts around then, they will still somehow be a contender. They'll be going on like year 10 of being a contender, but I have faith in Rod Brind'Amour. And at some point, they need to just go like all in and win a goddamn Stanley Cup. And I'm penciling them in 2031 and 2032. The Montreal Canadiens. This is assuming that they trade Noah Dobson in the 2031 offseason and then they win immediately after that. I'm obviously joking. But yeah, the Montreal Canadiens come 2028. Oh my God, my hair. Come 2028, they will be a special team within the NHL. When looking at it, even in 2032, Suzuki and Caulfield will only be 31 and 32 years old. And the rest of their team, for the most part, will be in their prime. You're looking at Demidov, 26 years old, Hudson and Slavkovsky, 28 years old, Jacob Fowler, 27 years old. As long as they can figure out the second line center position, maybe it'll be Michael Hage who will be entering his prime around then. They're going to be a true contender basically from 2028 to 2035. And at this point, I'd say there's like a 40 to 50% chance that they win a Stanley Cup with this current core. It is damn impressive. So I have them in 2032, especially by then. A lot of the teams in the Eastern Conference that right now are on top. Again, I don't think the Florida Panthers will still be cooking 7 years from now. Toronto won't. Tampa Bay won't. Am I blanking on some other teams? Ottawa will still be good. New Jersey and Carolina will be pretty decent, but it probably will be Montreal's Eastern Conference. In 2033, the San Jose Sharks get there first. Much like Montreal, this team is just set up to kind of enter a window in 2028, 2029 and not look back. All of their guys are around the same age between the drafts of 2023 to 2025, as well as Eklund in 2021. They're loaded. Celebrini, Misa, Smith, Eklund, Askarov, Chernyshov, Ravensburgen, Dickinson. They're awesome. There is some hesitation about the defense corps because Dickinson and Cagnani have not played at the NHL level, but they're going to figure that out. They're still going to get probably like a top 5 pick in 2026, potentially like a Keaton Verhoff or something like that. They're loaded. Celebrini looks like a future top 5 player in the NHL. I'm pretty confident in that once he's in his prime, once the guys right now kind of fall out of their primes. So yeah, they have that foundational piece. Eklund and Smith are already proven at the NHL level. I think that they are going to be a special team and will have a decent shot at winning multiple Stanley Cups the way that they're building right now. And I think they get there first in 2033. 2034, the Utah Mammoth. Maybe they'll change their name again by then. But yeah, with the Utah Mammoth, Dylan Guenther, Logan Cooley will be like 30 years old, 31 years old, still superstars. You give me 2 superstars basically a decade from now, as well as having right now, in my opinion, the 5th best prospect pool in the NHL with guys like TJ Ginla, Simashev, Denoyer, Harabel. So yeah, they got young players, NHL proven players right now. They're only 21 and 22 years old, as well as good youngsters. Clayton Keller hopefully will still be on the team by then. Sergachev kind of as veterans. The Utah Mammoth have really been building it the right way. Peterka is pretty young as well. TJ Ginla, Peterka, Cooley, Gunther. It'll be a special team even in 8 years from now. Lastly, also in 2035, I have the San Jose Sharks getting yet another Stanley Cup. Considering the fact, again, their core is all roughly the same age, I just don't see them going anywhere in those 2030s. Yes, there might be other teams like the Chicago Blackhawks, the Utah Mammoth, who I have winning in 2034, Anaheim Ducks. But yeah, right now, they have the franchise superstar. If you can't tell, I like Macklin Celebrini a decent amount, as well as other NHL proven talent. So I think that they are the premier team. The Montreal Canadiens are probably the team that's set up for like 2029 to 2034. San Jose Sharks like 2031 to 2037 probably have the best outlook in terms of a 4 to 5 year contention window. So I think that they get a second in this scenario. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? It goes Florida in 2026, Edmonton 2027, Dallas 2028, Minnesota 2029, New Jersey 2030, Carolina 2031, Montreal 2032, San Jose Sharks 2033, Utah Mammoth 2034, and the San Jose Sharks again in 2035. I probably don't have enough repeat champions, especially when you look at the NHL from 2016 on. Pittsburgh, 2 Stanley Cups. Tampa Bay, 2 Stanley Cups. Panthers, 2 Stanley Cups. But yeah, I wanted to give a couple teams some love instead of completely glazing. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Again, I'm going to be in Miami this weekend, but I'm prepping videos. We'll have that Fantasy Hockey preview podcast out. I'll have my top 15 prospects in the NHL, some that I talked about within this video, as well as start rolling out my listing every single team's highest scorer, my predictions for that, as well as high scoring defensemen. The season is starting. The season is right around the corner. I'm going to start predicting shit. I hope that you're around to watch it. Greatly appreciate you guys. I'll be seeing the next one. Peace.